Imagine waking up one frosty winter morning, your heart heavy with routine and doubt. Miguel, a priest, stepped outside, the chill biting at his skin, but little did he know he was on the brink of a divine awakening. Have you ever felt like faith was just a set of duties to check off? Well, on that day, Miguel's life flipped upside down, revealing a depth of love and purpose he never knew existed. What caused this transformation? It was a simple moment, an encounter that opened his eyes to the miraculous. Want to discover how a single moment can change everything? Stick around to hear his incredible story. And if you're passionate about faith, hit that subscribe button and share in the comments. Where are you from? How has Jesus touched your life? Remember, Jesus will bless you. He is always with you, and may his light guide you. The tranquility of my life as a priest in a small town was akin to a gentle stream flowing steadily through the lush landscape of normalcy, undisturbed and predictable. Each day, I arose with the dawn as the town's rooster crowed, a sound that had become as much a part of my routine as the ringing of the chapel's bells. My duties commenced with morning prayers, where I often found myself alone in the quiet echo of the pews, the smell of old wood and incense like comforting old friends. The routine was familiar, and there was a profound peace in its predictability. In my study, theological books adorned the shelves, volumes filled with the wisdom of church fathers and modern theologians alike. These texts provided me with a fortress of knowledge, each page turning with promises of understanding and enlightenment. This fortress filled my heart with a sense of security, a deep conviction in my beliefs that seemed unshakable. My interactions with the parishioners were the spices to my daily bread: weddings, baptisms, and funerals. Each ceremony was a reminder of life's circle, a moment to interject divine grace into the lives of others. Yet, beneath this serene surface was a hum, a subtle vibration I became aware of only as it began to intensify during chilly winter dawns. At first, it was merely an itch at the edge of consciousness, a whisper I could easily ignore amidst the chants and rituals of my faith. However, it grew, like a low hum crescendoing into a thunderous call. This sensation became impossible to ignore, transcending from the realm of mind into physicality. One particular morning, as frost covered the forgotten corners of the chapel windows, I felt it more acutely than ever. The sensation started as a warmth in my chest, spreading as if an unseen hand had ignited a fire within. It was not unpleasant, but deeply unsettling, a golden thread unraveling the fabric of everything I had known to be true about my existence and beliefs. There, amid the shifting shadows of the early sun, I felt my heart twist with a strange yet profound yearning, one not satiable by reciting familiar verses or singing sacred hymns. I found myself questioning the origins of this newfound sensation. Was it doubt, the serpent I had read and preached about, slithering into my consciousness? But it felt more profound than mere doubt. It was no mere whisper of disbelief. It was, rather, an invitation, perhaps a beckoning towards an understanding far greater than anything bound by human language or logic. The questions bombarded my tranquil mind like an unexpected storm. I had prided myself on my theological depth, on my ability to provide answers to my flock, rooted in scriptures and spiritual traditions. Now, however, I stood on the edge of something deep and unknowable, like peering over the precipice into a vast chasm. Was my knowledge insufficient, or was I simply being called to dive deeper? Was this yearning God's gentle nudge, a whisper to align my understanding with a new dimension of spiritual truth? Despite my efforts to regain equilibrium, peace proved elusive. My once serene prayers transformed into petitions for clarity. In the hushed corners of the chapel, I would find myself lost in dialogue with God, the layers of my faith unfurling like parchment beneath his fiery gaze. And in those moments, I was struck by how little I truly knew of him, this being I had dedicated my life to serving. What significance lies hidden within the monotony of our routines, the barren winter days when time moves both sluggishly and with unsettling speed. I questioned whether comfort and routine had camouflaged a deeper, more passionate relationship with God. What if this security, this theological safe house, kept me from truly experiencing the divine? Could it be that I was being prepared for a revelation that would shatter all preconceived notions of what it meant to serve, love, and be loved by Christ? Those were my musings as I departed from my normal morning reveries, treading along the path less taken, a path filled with mystery and, possibly, divine revelation. The sense that something monumental lay on the horizon was overwhelming, a foreshadowing of a spiritual metamorphosis that would transcend my earthbound understanding of faith and reality. My foundation, once thought to be immovable, was shifting under the weight of new understanding, like tectonic plates heralding an earthquake. I prepared, unwittingly, for what was to come next. The calm before the storm had given me pause and had readied my heart for the unraveling of truths old and new. I was on the threshold, about to step into the embrace of the unknown, where the divine awaited with open arms and perhaps a message that would redefine the core of my existence and my service in the holy name of Jesus. Amidst the velvety cloak of darkness, an unexpected solace enveloped my being, a serenity that transcended the confines of earthly existence. It was as if time itself had surrendered its relentless march, allowing me to simply be, without any tether to the pains and burdens of mortal life. The unfamiliar sensation was overwhelming, yet deeply comforting, akin to the gentle embrace of a mother who reassures her child that all is well. In this space, the fragments of my past life, my fears, doubts, and regrets, dissolved, leaving behind a blank canvas ready to be painted with new understanding. As I hovered in this ethereal realm, my senses were greeted by vibrations and colors unlike anything I'd ever known, a brilliant spectrum that conveyed emotions in their purest form. Each hue seemed to emanate a melody, a symphony of feelings resonating deeply within me. The colors flowed with a rhythm. Blues murmured of tranquility and introspection, while golds and warm oranges sang of reassurance and acceptance. In these vibrations, I recognized the essence of divine love, a love that needed no words to be understood, that sought nothing in return but to give of itself abundantly. In this vast canvas of luminous energy, I caught glimpses of humanity as an interconnected tapestry of light, where each thread, no matter how insignificant it seemed, played an integral role in the composition of the whole. Here, it became evident to me that every soul carried a spark of the divine, a beacon of potential and promise bestowed by the Creator. As I observed this cosmic design, the interconnectedness of all life revealed itself to me with a clarity that evoked a profound awe. I realized that the struggles and triumphs of every individual were woven together in a magnificent dance, creating a harmony that was at once intricate and beautiful. However, my heart grew heavy as I noticed a shadow cast over the tapestry, a sadness mirrored in the eyes of Christ as he observed humanity's journey from his celestial vantage. The sorrow sprung not from disappointment, but from an earnest yearning for his beloved creation to realize their divine potential. In that moment, I understood that Christ's tears were shed out of love, a longing for us to awaken from our spiritual slumber and embrace the beacon of light within. This poignant realization stirred an aching desire within me to contribute to the healing of this cosmic masterpiece, to mend the frayed edges of the tapestry with threads of love and compassion. In this divine encounter, I felt Christ's presence as a vibrant, encompassing warmth, encouraging each soul to rise above their individual struggles to see the larger picture. Our interconnected existence meant to radiate love. This revelation unfolded like layers of a complex yet simple truth. Though each soul's journey is unique, we are all bound by love. Love, the greatest force of the universe, coursing through every fiber of our being, urging us towards unity and understanding. The transformative power of this love was unlike anything I had ever preached or studied. It was an invitation, a divine calling to reflect the light of Christ amid the shadows of human imperfection. As the vibrational hues crescendoed into a gentle lullaby, I found myself pondering my place within this wondrous creation. The structured predictability of my former life now seemed insignificant. My previous certainties faded before the brilliance of this newfound truth. My heart swelled with the realization that this experience was not just a personal awakening, but a call to action, a sacred duty to return to the world with a renewed purpose to inspire others to recognize and nurture their divine light. This epiphany, this transformative encounter, conveyed to me a powerful message, a message not bounded by time or space, but enduring and universal. Love is the true essence of our being and the unifying force that connects us all. Here, amid the celestial symphony, I resolved to carry this revelation with me, to cherish and share the divine message of love and unity upon my return to the earthly realm. Returning from the grips of what seemed like his final moment, Miguel opened his eyes to a world that was the same, yet irrevocably changed. The familiar surroundings of the hospital room brought an overwhelming sense of continuity with his past life, yet everything felt imbued with new significance. This was not merely the world he left behind. It was a stage set for his renewed mission, one that echoed the divine love he had encountered in that otherworldly realm. He was filled with an urgent need to embrace this purpose and spread light and love through acts that may appear small to others, but held profound significance. Miguel's awakening, however, was not without its challenges. He faced the task of expressing an experience that was deeply personal and intensely vivid, yet beyond the reach of ordinary language. How could he convey the ineffable peace and the vivid tableau of colors that were feelings more than sights? Words fell short as he tried to describe the palpable sense of interconnectedness he witnessed, a truth that all humanity is woven into a singular tapestry of light. He knew that many would meet his story with skepticism, dismissing it as a mere product of a fevered mind. Yet, there were others, those whose curiosity shone through, whose hearts were open to the mysteries of life, who listened with eyes wide with wonder. Miguel soon realized that his mission was not to convince, but rather to inspire through example. The divine love he had encountered urged him to embody its essence, always patient, kind, and humble. His interactions became opportunities to practice this newfound understanding. Each handshake, each listening ear, each forgiving word became a channel through which this divine love flowed. His parishioners noticed the change, marveling at the newfound depth in his presence, even if they could not articulate what it was. One vivid memory stands out from this time. A woman in his congregation, burdened with sorrow, seeking solace after a devastating loss. In her teary-eyed recounting of grief, Miguel saw more than just a cry for comfort. He saw the divine spark waiting to be recognized. As he listened, he felt compelled to share a truth he had come to treasure during his spiritual journey. In our weakest moments, we are closer to God than we can imagine. His strength is made perfect in our weakness. This belief resonated profoundly within him, and Miguel knew it carried the weight of his experience. Hearing it reflected in his words seemed to spark a small light in her eyes, a flicker of hope amidst her darkness. Miguel saw firsthand how a simple truth, shared with genuine love and intention, could uplift and transform. The biblical stories he had preached time and time again now danced with new life, flaring with color and vibrancy in the light of his recent encounter. Through this renewed lens, Miguel realized that his role was less about delivering sermons and more about living them. The principles of his faith needed to be demonstrated through tangible acts of love and empathy. In the mundane rhythm of daily life, opportunities for kindness abounded, holding the door for someone, offering a sincere compliment, or just sharing a smile. Each act became a sermon on love without saying a word. In these small gestures, Miguel saw the potential for profound impact, the likes of which only divine orchestration could weave. The challenge lay in the consistency required to live this purposefully. Miguel often drew strength from quiet moments of reflection, remembering the velvety darkness that embraced him and the divine acceptance he had felt. Each day, he would retreat into a space of prayerful silence, seeking the guidance and reassurance that his mission was leading him closer to embodying the Christ-like love he witnessed. Through this continual communion, he fortified his purpose, less reliant on his ability to articulate the ineffable and more focused on the authenticity of his actions. Miguel was also mindful of the broader canvas of society, observing how so many seemed trapped in cycles of fear, anger, and division. He sought ways to touch hearts beyond the confines of his church, to act as a beacon of peace amidst life's storms. He began to see his life as a series of divine appointments. Each encounter holds potential for transformation, each person as an unwritten story on the verge of light. There were those who questioned his sanity, curious about his apparent days of love. Some even labeled his message as idealistic, unrealistic in the face of a harsh and unforgiving world. But Miguel's conviction was unmoved. He was living proof of grace's power to heal, uplift, and transcend the confines of doubt and despair. He knew too well the truth bestowed upon him. Love, genuine and unabashed, could light a path through the darkest nights. His life became a dance of this love, each step leading him further into a divine mystery, a mystery that demanded not full understanding, but faithful participation. The words from Corinthians often echoed in his heart. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. Though he knew challenges awaited, Miguel was emboldened, armed with a purpose clearer than any vision a waking world could offer. Compelled by the light within, never resting until the tapestry of humanity reflected its intended glory. Miguel's narrative continued, touching lives with each encounter, the legacy of his moment transcending time and space, forever reminding him and others of the divine love that seeks to awaken all towards a new purpose. As the years flowed by like a tranquil river, I often found myself reflecting on the aftermath of my celestial encounter, a divine revelation that had forever altered the tapestry of my soul. Though the sacred halls of the church once held the entirety of my purpose, I began to perceive a larger world brimming with promises of solace and redemption, a world in which my calling extended beyond the physical walls of the parish. This was a notion both exhilarating and daunting, a fresh chapter penned by the invisible hand of grace. In solitude, I would reminisce about the moments of transcendence when I had glimpsed an ineffable light that seemed to whisper the secrets of existence itself. The essence of that encounter was indelibly etched upon my heart, a beacon guiding my every action and thought. My mission became clear: to be a living testament of hope and kindness, an embodiment of light that illumined the darkness without regard for boundaries, a commitment to love as unconditional as the love I had felt enveloping me in those ephemeral moments of divine union. With this mission burgeoning within me, I ventured out into the vast expanse of humanity, which lay sprawling beyond the sacred stones of ecclesiastical tradition, seeking to connect with souls hungry for authenticity, kindness, and spiritual nourishment. Each interaction, whether with a familiar parishioner or a stranger in passing, felt imbued with newfound depth and significance. There was a stirring within my heart, an urge not merely to speak of divine love, but to make it tangible through simple acts: a warm smile, a comforting presence, a compassionate ear. As St. Augustine once said, "When you judge me, let your love and kindness be my witnesses." This journey, while fulfilling, was not without its trials. Skepticism greeted me often, its cold shadow casting doubt onto the brilliant light I sought to share. To many, the notion that one could transcend the ritual and tradition of the church and still serve as God's vessel seemed implausible. Yet, I recalled the words of Jesus, who ministered beyond the synagogue walls, reaching into the lives of fishermen, tax collectors, and outcasts. To walk in his footsteps was to embrace the uncertainty of an unconventional ministry. The challenge was not only external. Internally, I wrestled with bouts of melancholy and loneliness, emotions I had not anticipated. The path of light was narrow and often solitary, but each step I took was guided by the memory of the divine connection I had experienced, a sacred bond which reminded me of my innate purpose. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it, echoed the promise from Scripture, a truth I clung to when my resolve faltered. Through each trial, I continued to plant seeds of light, unseen yet potent. In hospitals, I shared gentle words of comfort, praying by the bedsides of those weary with life's burdens. In community centers, I found joy in listening to the stories of those society had forgotten. These genuine human interactions became my pulpit, each conversation a homily of hope that did not require the grandeur of a cathedral, but only the humble sincerity of being present and attentive. Over time, the fruits of this mission blossomed in heartwarming ways. Lives touched by the simplicity of love began to mirror that love outwards, a ripple effect of kindness and grace. It was evident in the mother who, once comforted, extended her empathy to other struggling parents. It shone in the eyes of the elderly man who had found a listener in me and now volunteered his time to share stories with children. These testimonies fueled my perseverance, reaffirming that the legacy of light truly was a living legacy, a vibrant thread woven into the fabric of the world by those willing to act as conduits of divine love. Though I remained a priest in name, my pulpit knew no bounds, for it resided in every street corner, every cafe conversation, every moment of sincere connection. This legacy, bestowed upon me through an extraordinary spiritual encounter, was not mine alone to bear. It was a call to unity, to remind each person of their intrinsic link to the divine, a reminder that within each of us resides the power to illuminate the world through our connectivity and compassion. As I journeyed through this expanded spiritual landscape, I understood more fully that my true purpose was to awaken others to their own call to light, to inspire them to recognize the splendor within, a splendor that, when united, could transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. Just as my path had been lit by that celestial encounter years ago, so too did I strive to kindle the light within those I touched, ensuring that the legacy of light endured within hearts and souls, echoing that eternal whisper, "You are the light of the world."